Hello everyone, and welcome back to Hot Tea. I'm your series host, Sarah Jane. Today we are covering part 2 of our Venus Angelic series. If you haven't seen part 1, you should probably go do that, and if you have seen it, know that this round is even crazier. Before we start, make sure to subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, and tap the ding dong device for notifications. Also, follow the Hot Tea team on Twitter. Some subjects in this video may be triggering, such as EDs, narcissistic abuse, alcoholism, and sexual activity, as well as brief mention of self-harm, suicide, violence, weapons, abortion, and incest. If you think this video may trigger you, please click off or watch with caution. I can't wait to jump into the next section of our roller coaster, but before I do that, I need to first address a few things from the last video. If you just want to get right into the story, skip ahead about 2 minutes. I'll show 3 or 4 seconds of the Roly Poly Oly theme song so you can look for that when you're scrolling and restart there. I gotta give a huge shout out and a big thank you to all of the really nice comments that people left. I also greatly appreciate those of you who left friendly, constructive criticism so that I can continue to improve. There were, however, quite a lot of people who were not happy with my tone, and someone said an apology should be made. I am sorry that the way I spoke caused feelings of upset, and I don't mean that in a I'm sorry you feel that way, Eugenia apology type of way. I do recognize the severity of the situation I'm covering. I do empathize with Venus, and I do not think abuse is funny. I do believe in Venus, and I think she has a shot at becoming a better person, but not if we continue to excuse her actions that normally would be inexcusable. Venus is not at fault for what she was taught by other people. She did not deserve those experiences, and it is devastating that any child could be treated so poorly by their parents. I will explicitly say now that Venus is not to blame for her own use, and I never intended for the meaning behind my words to say otherwise. People were also confused because I said that Venus and Marge might be able to laugh with me because they're sometimes self-aware and funny. I wasn't saying that I could guarantee that they'll love this and that they will be laughing with me. I just said that I hoped that they would. What I was trying to convey is that I'm not trying to hurt their feelings or invalidate their experiences, and if they do happen to watch this, I am hopeful they're able to use their senses of humor to understand why I took the tone that I did. Finding humor is not the same thing as being disrespectful or being dismissive. I highly recommend researching the theory of comedy that explains using humor as a coping or defense mechanism. There is a reason why some of the funniest people are the ones who experience the most trauma. I choose to find humor even in dark times because I would be a much more miserable, hostile, and self-loathing person without seeking humor in darkness. I recognize that that isn't for everyone and that I can't make everybody happy as much as I would like to. This video will also have humor and silly voices, so if that is going to upset you, please don't finish this video. I hope that I've conveyed this disclaimer better this time. It's okay to have a different opinion, but please try to keep an open mind until the end of the series. Please do not watch this video thinking that I blame Venus or am trying to be disrespectful or insensitive. I am not trying to be mean to these women, and everything I say is alleged and learned from internet forums and Tumblr, which are not as legitimate as peer-reviewed scholarly articles, but those do not exist for this topic. Like with the last video, I'll be putting screenshots and such on screen, and you can check them out to read more if you'd like to see where I'm getting my info. We have a lot to cover, so we're going to dive right in after these important messages.
I'm sitting on a bunch of drama and it's all wasted. So I have to say I apologize for being wasteful with my resources.
Picking up where we left off, Marge is naked and overwhelmed with tragedy after being abandoned at the airport by that damn traitor and her boy husband friend, so she decided that she had to warn the internet about how psychopathic Venus really is. She let us know that Venus has an ED, that she had Asperger's, that she was an alcoholic, and that she was an animal abuser. Marge said that when Venus was a kid, she broke a puppy's leg and then murdered a hamster because she is evil and rotten to the core. This sent a huge tornado of hate to Venus, which Marge did nothing about. She just said, guys, I'm only human and I reach my limits. But then the story changed and she was like, I wonder why everyone's calling it Venus an animal abuser. And people were like, because you fucking said that she abused animals. And Marge was like, wait, I never said that. You guys are crazy and so dramatic. Also, it's weird how she starts posting about V having Asperger's and Asperger tantrums, because she once said that she had Asperger's to explain why she had called Michelle Phan hot. And yes, that felt as bizarre to say as it probably was to hear. She tweeted, "I am sorry, Michelle Phan, for my Asperger. That is why I said you are hot. And you said thanks. And I said, yeah, like 40 degrees Celsius. Michelle Phan, sorry it took me hours to understand your face after that." Venus was pressed to confront the issue. She denied having Asperger's, ED, and alcoholism. The ED, she said that she wouldn't even mind putting on some weight. She explained what happened to the animals, which is not as bad as what Marge said, but it's not great, so skip ahead about a minute if you don't want to hear that. With the hamster, when Venus was 3, she had horrible night terrors and would scream and toss and turn all night. When the hamster died, Marge said it was because Venus killed it with her screams, and his little hamster heart just couldn't bear it. I don't think there was an autopsy performed, so not exactly sure how Midge determined this COD, but Venus was blamed as a toddler for killing her hamster because of her terrifying nightmares, and that sounds to me like an attempt by Marge to make Venus feel bad enough to stop screaming in her sleep, but something Marge was still eager to bring up 16 goddamn years later to guilt trip Venus. But as far as we actually can tell through evidence, Venus is not an animal. Marge actually still brings this up as recently as September 2021, 21 years after it happened. Let it go, boo thing. As for the dog, when Venus was 11, she tried to pick up their dog but wasn't strong enough, and one of the dog's legs broke. When Venus spoke about the incident, she said that the dog is still alive and is living with a family friend, and that it managed to heal up just fine. Get it? Heal up? Because it's a dog? Sorry. Venus feels very guilty about the incident, and she shed a lot of tears. Shed? Sorry, I feel the need to lighten the mood with puns when talking about such a rough subject. Okay, I'm done. For real this time. I shit you not. Please forgive me for my appalling jokes. I don't want to upset you, our dear Labradorable subscribers, with my repugnant puns. Puns are just pawful, believe me, I know, and I know I will never retrieve another opportunity to voice over if I keep this pup. If you hate puns, you're not a bone. A lot of people feel that way. Anyway, Venus, accidents happen. No need to tear yourself up about it. The fact that this is being used against you is pure pit bullshit. To be fair to Marge, I guess, while this rumor definitely started with her and didn't come from nowhere, it did definitely get blown out of proportion way past what Marge said, because by the time that this rumor got to the end of the troll telephone line, people were saying that Venus put the hamster in a microwave. Our fave #1 guy, good old Keem, was at the end of that troll line, and he didn't really care about finding the truth and reported that Venus was an animal killer, all while laughing, obviously, because it's hilarious and not tragic. That's sarcasm, by the way. People in the comments quickly held Keem accountable and said that his reporting was sloppy and he should have done more research.
He looks like a garden gnome.
And that he was not helping Venus. In fact, he was hurting her because now tons of people are going over and hating on her.
Okay, I mean, you guys operate your opinions based on emotion, not facts. We do facts and logic.
It's based on emotion, not facts. We do facts and logic. Facts and logic.
Venus and her management will actually try to get an interview with Keemstar using the very professional and effective tactic of tweeting at him, which I'm kidding, but also that probably is one of the best ways to get the attention of the retired Keemson Shin, but it never comes to fruition. Instead, Margot gets in touch with YouTuber Vexed, who had posted an inquiry to his followers about doing a video on Mama Andorra Palermo. Most people were interested. Kiwiers were not so happy, and one of them sent a warning to Venus's management because they knew that Vexed would not be doing the story justice. One person had responded to the inquiry with, "Just don't do a Keem job of it." He doesn't do a Keem job of it because he didn't just scream laugh and go, "What? Ha! Whoa! This is crazy." But people were very unhappy. Eventually, due to copyright strikes from Venus's management Fullscreen, the video didn't get taken down, but Venus began getting all of the video's revenue. Vex said that he would take the video down if Venus asked him nicely, and threw some shade at her for trying to reach out to his and everyone's arch nemesis, Cookies and Keem. Well, everyone except the gamer bros, right, Keem?
Of course, I got the guys and the gamer bros on my side who hate all of you, literally you, all the T channels, Ethan, You guys are straight trash.
Although Venus also did ask him nicely to take the video down, and he did, only for Marge to repost it on her own channel, which means now she gets all of the revenue. Vecht said he was confused by the copyright strikes because he didn't understand how he's violating any copyright when Marge gave him permission to post that clip of footage. You mean the footage of Venus? Venus, the grown adult who owns her own image? You're confused about that as a professional journalist? Why? Marge captions the reposted video, "It is my recordings, my emails, my interview, my truth, therefore my rights. This video is not even taking sides. It's very much factual, even though it is absolutely clear what happened. The reason is that I have not given Venus to Hollywood to be the Greta Thunberg of pedophilia and, of course, illegal immigration." What? Then she basically says that Venus is a manipulator and a user who uses people as pawns to get herself money and then discards them. Another creator, Primink, made a Venus video much more recently. It was maybe a little over a year ago. And Venus really liked it, but Marge was mad that he used clips that were too short for her to claim. Marge said that he was abusing YouTube's system, but actually, Marge, you should probably look into commentary fair use, baby. Primink said that Marge was trying to sue him, but I don't believe that she had enough cause to do so, and we never saw any follow-ups about that. According to somebody who watched his Discord, Primink said he's just taking a break, and he hasn't been gone because Marge pushed him away. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Remember how Marge was in the airport because it was Venus's birthday and they were supposed to spend time together, but then Marge started saying all this vile stuff about Venus and tried to kidnap her, so they actually didn't spend Venus's birthday together? Well, Venus had to spend her birthday confronting all the rumors, and Marge was not happy that Venus said that killing the hamster and dropping the dog were accidents. She said everything is an accident to you, stupid shit. You know what was really an accident? You. People are like, good Lord, woman, why would you say that at all, let alone publicly and on her birthday? Marge then tried to deny that she said that Venus was an accident, to which people were like, dude, you're on the internet, screenshots, like, you can't lie here, man. And then Marge was like, well, Germans call unplanned babies that. It doesn't mean what you think it means. And then Germans came in and were like, bish, no. And then Marge is like, well, she didn't deserve all my love and support, and I worked hard only for her to try and kill me. Technically, Marge, you were working for her, or you can even say with her, and so you were being paid to do a job, so she did deserve your help. And also, you're her mother, who fought for sole custody and was the provider for her as her parent, who blocked out all her other family and any potential friends. And yeah, as a parent, you're probably gonna have to make some sacrifices for your child, okay? Marge thinks that everything anyone says about her is threatening her life. So I do think that when she says Venus is trying to kill her, she probably does believe it, but it's pretty much based on her own delusions, not something Venus actually says. Then Aunt Z came in for the win and said Venus wasn't an accident, she was very much on purpose, because Marge wanted to trap Venus's dad in marriage so she could get child support. So I actually think you owe Venus quite a lot, little Margie. Then on Marge's birthday, she complained why her only daughter couldn't reach out to her and give her a hug for her birthday. Gee, I wonder why that might be. Then for Venus's 21st birthday, she posted some memes, which apparently intelligent people laugh at, and she also cried and posted a picture with her toe bleeding and said that it was because when Marge last saw Venus, Venus tried to use Marge's own jacket to strangle her, and Venus had to step on Margaret's toe in this strangulation attempt, which Marge never originally mentioned when telling the story of what happened at the airport. Marge hashtagged the photo, #parent. So you could say Marge knows how to celebrate. Maybe she can plan your next birthday party. She's probably looking for the work. For some reason, Marge has 2 storage units, one in the Netherlands and one in Japan. I don't fully get why she has one in Japan. She said that Maneki opened it for them before they moved to Korea, but why? Because they hadn't lived in Japan at that point? I don't fully know, but regardless, he opened a storage unit for them, and Marge had the key and full access, and Maneki was paying the bill. All he asked was for her to get her stuff out within 6 months. She gets to the end of 6 months, and she's freaking out about all her memories and valuable belongings, and how it's all now gonna belong to evil Maneki, and Venus doesn't give two about her baby memories or photo albums. At this point, Marge wasn't living in Japan, and I understand it's probably quite difficult to get all those boxes, but it's not Maneki's fault. But Marge refused unless Venus met her at the storage unit, which guess what? Venus not gonna do that, no ma'am. So Marge starts saying that Maneki stole her stuff because he won't mail it back to her. Although Marge also says that one reason V was keeping the storage stuff from Marge was because there was evidence in there of some bad things that Venus had done. But once Marge does get access to the stuff, there's no new evidence. Marge says stuff about having evidence a lot, usually something through email or online, and she says that she's just not leaking it, but that she could. But this is confusing because she had no problem leaking things like pictures of her daughter in bed with a man that wasn't her husband. Maybe she does have further proof, but it seems very odd that she would keep anything to herself when she's already been so willing to share so much regardless of the consequences or how private things should be. She does eventually get everything back after a few years whining about it, but until she gets it back, it's a great excuse for her to complain about her bullying daughter. She had to pay to keep in a storage unit, but she doesn't have any money, so even when she is too sad to film or do anything, she has to push through the pain to make money so her beloved belongings aren't stolen by the man who already stole her dear damn daughter. Girl, what did you think would happen? So of course, Venus doesn't meet Marge at the airport or storage, and Mama be mad. She decides the best thing to do is demand Venus pay her $3,000. Potato, stop. Potato. Sorry, my cat keeps biting things. There you go. Good boy. She decides the best thing to do is demand Venus pay her $3,000 a month until the day she dies. Otherwise, she will continue to ruin Venus, which, by the way, threatening to ruin Venus was apparently something Marge did while Venus was growing up. How lovely. Venus says, so my mom wants me to give her $3,000 a month or else she will sue me / report my channel. First of all, I don't even have that much money. No one in my boyfriend's family can hand you that sum of money monthly unless this is a new form of side. Like, what the hell? I can't. It just leaves me speechless. Yes, Mom, Margaret Palermo, you have a 152 IQ, but that doesn't justify your actions. Margaret is like, I don't know why you have to bring up my IQ, but Marge brings it up all the time, and she talks about how big her brain is and how smart she is and how she's in Mensa. So I think Venus was poking fun at her, constantly bragging while calling out how absurd her request is. Side note, I've been thinking a lot about butter today, and I have bitch better have my butter stuck in my head because of that gif. I digress. Margot claims Venus was making over $15,000 a month, a sum nearly 100 times as large as Marge's IQ, but it is extremely unlikely that Venus is making that much at this time. Several people did some math, good for them, and thank you, to find more accurate estimates. Obviously, only Venus and I guess YouTube can say for sure what she was making at this time, but Venus making 15 grand every month is mathematically nonsensical. Venus denies the request because it's impossible, so Marge begins striking copyright claims on Venus's videos, one by one until the channel gets taken down entirely. Marge also gets strike happy with videos mentioning her and Venus. To be fair, at least from a corporate stance, Marge did work with Venus on the channel, and she did some managing, like sending her own headshot to My Strange Addiction when submitting for Venus, because that's how the industry works, right? And she said she did all the makeup and writing and directing and everything besides actually being Venus, which is a shame because we know that's what she really wants. She also claims to have done the editing, but a lot of people have called out that Venus's editing style and skill stays the same after leaving, while the quality of Marge's videos declines. Marge starts to say that the channel was hers, but then she changed the name to Venus's and everything was her idea, which contradicts all of the interviews that she gave saying Venus had to beg her for almost 6 months. According to now defunct Venus Angelic LLC, they both were assigned director on the same day, but Venus stepped down. So it's just very hard for Marge to validate the claims that the channel is hers because she spent so much time talking about how it belongs to Venus, and it's Venus's name and Venus's face. So nothing seems to be enough, including bullying Venus while calling her a bully. So Marge gets ready to work hard to screw over her daughter instead of finding a job. With shifting claims, it's hard to say what is fair for Margaret to receive or not receive, but we do know that Venus asked for her bank PIN and account number when they met at the airport around Venus's birthday, and Marge would not give it to her and said she should learn how to remember numbers. Someone commented, I can't believe Marge kept the bank account and still begged for storage money. She blew through all the money in that account and ended up a broke-ass hobo, which is not nice. Also potentially inaccurate. But instead of having bitch better have my butter in my head, I now have that's a broke-ass hobo. We also know that the channel is not making any money at this time because Marge keeps getting it taken down. Neither of them can come to some sort of simple agreement, but Marge is willing to fight. Eventually, after being down thrice, Venus gets her channel back and Marge doesn't pursue it further. She said she went to the US to talk to a lawyer to see what could be done, but then said that she couldn't afford the lawyer. However, I don't really see her winning this one regardless. Big yikes, Venus posts an April Fool's joke saying that Manaki was in jail for girls. I don't know how to explain this because I'm having mixed feelings right now and everything is still so confusing, but basically Manaki, my boyfriend, got arrested, which I would still be okay with, but it's the fact why he got arrested terrifies me, and I don't think we can stay together like that. As some of you may have heard, or molesting in Japan is rather widespread. This can occur anywhere, but mostly on the subway where it's crowded and hard to detect an offender. And that is also where Manaki molested a high school girl younger than me. I'm not going to tell more than that. I don't know if I'd rather not know about this or if I should be happy that my boyfriend, who's an offender, got caught and will get the punishment he deserves. Also, he molested the same girl with patterns and frequency. Authorities could track him down and get him at the subway. He didn't try to fight against the authorities or deny anything, so at least that. My heart feels as if it were shattered by a giant bowling ball, and I don't know how to trust or feel like a normal person ever again. Just what is there to look forward to in life anymore? Am I as dirty as everyone else too? Obviously, this did not go over well, and people were pissed. She also once joked about them being siblings, which people also did not like. She said that the April Fool was Manaki's idea, not hers, which I highly doubt, but who knows? And she didn't think that people would be so upset because getting it is so common, and it even happened to her. Everyone already thinks that Manaki is this creepy pedophile, and here Venus is making it a joke and pushing it further, and it seems like some people don't see the clarification that she made, so it's just a mess. It's also concerning that she didn't think it was a big deal when it happened to her, and that she didn't think other people would find it to be a big deal. Meanwhile, Marge is hobble hopping around the world. She's traveling from place to place, sometimes even sleeping in cafes, yet somehow flying to all these various countries for who knows why. And her only job is playing the victim and not apologizing, yet waiting for Venus to come back to her. No one knows how she affords going country to country. She once said it was because of her fiance, and then later turns out he was not her fiance, but some rich guy that she proudly let everyone know he paid for her flight and hotel, and she didn't even have to touch the D. That is a direct quote. Quick disclaimer, I'm not hating on any of the places where she stays. People gotta do what they gotta do in this very difficult world, and everyone has different tastes and lifestyles. Also, if you're wondering about what's happening here, me too. Marge posts about all of the marriage proposals she's had to contemplate because ever since Venus left, she's been getting real lucky with the young, dashing Japanese suitors. At one point, she seemed to have hooked up with somebody in a dorm-style kind of place where she was living, and she took a naked selfie with him and then was furious when Instagram took it down because what about all her likes and her sexy, sexy man she had to show off? The caption was something about how Venus messaged her, asking her to stop trying to hack her, and Marge was like, meanwhile, I'm in bed all night with my hot boyfriend. Sorry I wasn't hacking you because I was banging this man. She also had a guy playing with sponges in the background of one of her videos, and people speculated that he was her boyfriend, and she was like, that's racist. Just because my boyfriend is Japanese doesn't mean that Japanese guy playing with the animal sponges is my boyfriend. Actually, this is my boyfriend, and he's hot. Look how hot he is. She reposted a small part of the picture, and the comments are extraordinarily confusing. Marge is lucky to have a supporter named Jazzy or Jasmine who was kind enough to send words of encouragement and even allowed Marge to stay with her. Unfortunately, it didn't go well and Jazzy ended up scorned. A user writes, poor Jasmine, she's really starting to understand how snowed she was. Margot has completely turned on her after Jasmine paid for her train ticket, gave her house room, and loaned her money. Margot is gaslighting Jasmine and accused her of abuse. After all of her support, Jasmine went to a forum to share a conversation between her and Marge and some details of their time together. Oh, what was that part about the him, you ask? Well, despite claiming that Venus was not her daughter anymore and she wasn't sad about it because Venus didn't deserve her love, and taunting her with meaningful childhood toys and called her psychopath and murderer, she did write a hymn for Venus that is a piece of art. She also made a music video to go with it. Unfortunately, all that's left of the video online are some GIFs. I did find the audio. I couldn't believe that I found it, but I found it finally. However, since Marge is notorious for copywriting, I need to be super careful and can't play much of it. She apparently used the hymn Venus Angelicus by Botticelli, and someone said that she ruined that hymn for them forever, so maybe it's good if I don't play it. I will now do a dramatic reading of the art that is the song lyrics. Venus Angelicus came from my uterus. Botticelli's jealous. You are a miracle. Build your empire, most luminous rose. All the hearts melt when you strike a pose. Venus Angelicus, your fans are numerous. You're a doll, beautiful, and you are a muse, sweet as chocolate, a strong girl and so cute, one real unicorn. You are beloved everywhere. She labeled the video as comedy, but said that she wasn't trying to mock Venus. She immediately goes back to shit on Venus, so the stunt didn't last too long. In addition to the hymn, Margot keeps making content about Venus, like posting her baby photos, even though she moved on and is no longer the actual mother of Venus Angelic. She just tags all her stuff, hashtag Venus Angelic, and Venus Angelic's mom is in all of her bios or whatever. She's still not her mom, though. Venus's aunt and grandfather make some brief appearances over social media. Her aunt, Zhuzha, commented asking why she needs help with the lyrics since she's already described Venus in her own words. Words like manipulator, bully, cheater, psychopath, mistake. There's a lot of debate over the aunt and grandfather's intentions and whether or not they're, quote, normal people or more like Margot, but they seem to try and support Venus and welcome her with open arms. Marge's sister told people to stop being mean to Margot online because it will only fuel her negative behavior. Venus was hesitant, but eventually seemed like she might pursue a relationship with them. She tried to call her dad for a video, which people thought was kind of messed up since they felt she was only calling him for video and therefore for money. But if she wanted to call her dad and this is the way that she had to do it to push herself, I guess, it is what it is. But Marge was very upset by this, and so Marge also made a video calling Venus's paternal grandmother to shit talk Venus, which from what I know didn't go very well. It was really hard to find any information on the content of either of these calls, and I didn't find any footage, so I don't totally know. If you remember, I'd love to hear it. The aunt posts pictures in Venus's merch and tries her best to support from afar, letting Venus know that she's there for her. Grandpa posts some nice family stuff on his account. Seems like a good little family guy. He even offered Venus a house, a little cottage in their hometown, and said that they didn't have to see each other. He just wanted Venus to know how welcome she was, which is really cute. But Grandpa also kind of seemed like maybe he liked trolling. He posted a picture of a hospital and a prison in Japan, so people thought that he was visiting Marge in one of those places, or maybe visiting Venus. No one really knows. Zhuzha says that the pictures are not related to anything happening with the family, completely irrelevant.
I pretty much resent my aunt and grandparents because they didn't intervene the abuse. This really affected my ability to trust people, but I really don't know how bad things were. Spiritually, I think being forgiving is an excellent quality to have. Therefore, I will try to forgive them.
Marge started a few completely legitimate business ventures like this one where her coworker is a stock photo. She posted on Craigslist to try and get jobs teaching. She tried to be an on-call massage therapist that visits patients in their homes. She was briefly some sort of hall monitor, and then she was teaching, and it was a totally real teaching job too. Someone said, "You're a teacher?" And she said, "Yes, since I was 17. And then someone said, "How did you get this job?" And she said, "I do not understand your question." She tries to reach out to manage other YouTubers as a famous celebrity manager with first-hand experience, which I guess is technically true, but nobody was very interested. Then she tried selling some Venus-themed tarot cards, which didn't get funding. She very disturbingly tried to draw Venus riding a hamster. By the way, Venus bought some pet hamsters and did not take very good care of them, and no one really knows what happened to them. Turns out Homegirl really is not good with hamsters. She says that they're with her parents, which maybe she means Maniki's parents took them in, but she just kept them in way too small a cage and let them just freely breed, and people were just kind of weirded out by it. But she says that only 2 of them died. So I still don't think that she uses animals or that she gets some sick pleasure from their suffering. I think maybe she just is not really a hamster person. Somebody asks her if she likes animals in a Q&A with Maniki, and she says, "Well, Maniki, you're kind of like a pet, so yeah, I like animals." She later says that he's a pet that needs to be put down. Yikes. Marge made a video for the tarot card fundraiser that ended with a rant about unconditional love that doesn't get reciprocated. People doubted that she knew anything about tarot cards, but she's been using them for 100 years and can predict the future, okay? But I guess she was still somehow surprised when Venus left. She said that she predicted the immigration crisis and Trump's win. One of Marge's work attempts was on-call massage therapy. We don't know what kind of happy endings were included, if any, but someone said she was nice and pretty and really warmed him up. Unfortunately for that guy, the website for her company allegedly was what led her to being locked up in a detainment facility and deported back to Europe, though she allegedly fought it and refused to leave and tried to claim refugee status as a Jew even though she's not Jewish, but since then has been adamant that she is Jewish. More on that later. Someone said that Marge was busted for prostitution, but that might be pushing it a little bit. Maybe it was part of it, and maybe this tweet about needing guns in certain countries could also have been a factor, but all we really know is that she didn't have a work visa and she wasn't supposed to be working and making money, and she seems to have been reported by a competitor who posted all about it on kiwi farms. However, Marge does deny that this happened at all. There were images of paperwork and messages from Korean immigration, but I suppose those could all be faked or mistranslated. Marge said that she was never detained and went back to Switzerland on her own choice. During the time she was supposed to be in the detention center, she said she just was going temporarily offline to take some time away from the bullying. She moves to Switzerland after this, and she starts to seem okay, and then goes and spirals and is back at her commenting sprees. People speculate she was on meds in the detainment center and they wore off, but I'm not so sure about that. Good news is that when she goes back to Europe, she gets access to her storage. She eventually gets her stuff out after starting a fundraiser and working her little rump off to pay the bill for both her and Venus out of the kindness of her heart, and then took the bus to pick up boxes one by one and starts trying to sell some of Venus's old stuff, including the stuffed bunny that Venus loved that Margot refused to give back to her. She even marketed it as unwashed, so she's aware of the creepy people she always denied were following her daughter online. She was selling really crappy items and lying about how great they were. Somebody received a product and said it smelled like BO. What a shock. She gets pretty disheartened when she spent 4 years paying for that storage and then no one wanted to buy all the crap she saved. And she's like, I saved this for you guys. And everyone was like, well, we didn't ask though, and Venus hasn't been popular for like 4 years. Oh, and if you think selling the unwashed bunny is weird, it is, but she also tried to sell Venus's baby teeth and hair clippings.
Shut up, I'm no one's doll anymore.
People start to get real concerned when Venus deletes any trace of Manaki from her social media. Venus stops posting cutesy housewife stuff and is clearly miserable, and her state of mind is not good. She really starts to break down and become more transparent with her mental health struggles. It's really, really sad. She's having a hard time. Seems like maybe it wasn't until she got out of Marge's house and spent some time being independent that she realized the extent of her experiences and the toll they've taken. She talks a lot about being a hollow shell her whole life, and it just seems to have taken a really long time to figure out that she can be her own person, and it's really hard to figure out what to do. It's hard to develop a personality at 24 years old. She also posts a video explaining what many suspected, which is that Manaki wasn't someone she was in love with, just someone who could give her a way out.
And to be honest, I was kind of sick of having to deal with shouting, violence, and constant nagging on how I could be better, on why I suck.
As a young, traumatized, sheltered teen with no experience with healthy relationships and a burning need to leave home, it's not surprising that she married her first love so quickly. Also, trauma from your parents sometimes does this fun thing where you end up dating people just like your parents who give you the same type of trauma. Venus says that she always puts other people first. She says that Manaki wasn't as abusive as her mom, but he's not exactly what society calls a good person, and he did some of the same things that her mom did. A few highlights from the video. She knows that she isn't straight. She doesn't care if you're a boy or a girl. It's just about who she falls in love with, and she doesn't know what that's called. She was very isolated growing up, never had friends, never had a boyfriend. She wasn't sure what love felt like, and she didn't understand the difference between platonic and romantic feelings. One day there was just this guy who was a huge fan who made her feel special, and she thought that it was cute, but she was confusing love with a creepy obsession.
Dad and my battery crazy momager came in and was like, marriage!
Mom organized this marriage. How the fuck did that happen?
This is a little confusing because it doesn't really add up for Marge to be the one who orchestrated the wedding and pushed them together. However, maybe, I guess. The video ended up being deleted off of her channel, though somebody did re-upload it separately. And a lot of the info has been disputed, especially the info about Manaki quitting his job and relying financially on Venus. To said a lot of contradictory statements about Manaki, including some in this video. Now for our segment of Venus Talks about Manaki, a quick roundup. Legitimacy of statements unknown and unverified. He's a NEET that quit his job to rely on Venus's income. He's asexual. He's a pervert. He never had sex with Venus. He had threesomes with crossdressers. He only likes 2D women. He slept with men. He was abusive like Margot. Society would not consider him a good person. Most concerned about their relationship, of course, was Marge. Not because she was worried about where Venus was going to live and who was going to take care of her, but because she decided that Venus actually murdered Manaki and went full campaign that Manaki is dead and Venus killed him. That's where we're going to end for today. There's one more part to this series, so make sure you hit subscribe and like and the bell to be notified when that comes out. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a good one. Bye.